Hi, everyone. Welcome to the second ever JoinBrands Masterclass. Today we have a few guest speakers, but as we're going to wait for people to start joining, just type in the chat and drop your location, your creator handles, kind of get to know everyone. And just a reminder for any Q&As, we are going to have a Q&A section in the Today we have a few guest speakers. Oops. Okay, I guess someone wasn't on mute. Sorry. So just drop your questions in the Q&A section, please. That way we don't have questions mixed up with the chat and just kind of get to know everyone, see where you're from, where you create, what style of content you guys create. But how is your day going? I hope everyone's having a fabulous day today. Okay, we still have a few more participants joining, so we're just going to begin in a few minutes. Someone did say they never received the slides from Masterclass 1. I have heard that from a few people on the social media, so we're going to work on getting those over to you guys via email. Just a side note for the JoinBrands team to send that out and make sure that that gets out to everybody. Of course, I'm excited to do this with you guys for a second time. Yes, you should be getting a recording in the slides of this masterclass. If I'm not mistaken, it should be available on YouTube, but the JoinBrands team will confirm. On TikTok Shop Jobs, should I post just one video or many to increase my GMV? This is actually something we discussed in the last class, but you should absolutely be posting multiple videos, especially on a shorter range of product choices. The best way to research what to post essentially is stay true to who you are as a creator and make sure that you're choosing items that actually resonate with what you can sell. Once again, hopefully this is something you can take a deeper dive into if you review our last presentation. I'm just sifting through these questions now only because we're waiting a few more minutes for everyone else to join, but then we can begin. Okay. Yeah, don't worry, guys. We're going to work on getting you the slides from Masterclass 1 and 2 from the previous class. And yes, there will be recordings. No access being referred to. How can we access it? We're going to get it to you, and maybe someone from JoinBrands team can confirm right now if they'll get it via email or if it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's going to be via email. They'll get everything, and it's also on YouTube as well. But we probably need to send a direct link to it.
Oh,
But
awesome.
you can go to our YouTube channel and also see the webinar from number one.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, if you guys want to watch that, definitely subscribe to the channel because there's a lot of good juicy bits in there that you don't want to miss. Is there any update on the chat? Can anyone try using the chat and see if it's still disabled
It
or if it
doesn't
works?
appear to be working still.
That's so
Don't know
bizarre.
why.
Okay, so I think given that we're having an issue with this chat, let's just reserve Q&A. We'll use the Q&A portion, but just use it for questions. In the event that there is an issue with connection or anything like that, you guys can't see something, just type it in the Q&A section, but just try not to abuse the chat per se, because I don't know why the main chat is not working, but I think we're good to begin. Just give me a heads up if you want me to start from the back end. Okay, JoinBrands team, do we think we're ready to go? Should we begin?
Let's rock and roll.
All right, so we have 170 of you, but right now I'm sure there's more people joining. So if you jump in, like I said, everything's going to be available on YouTube, recorded. So welcome to our very second masterclass. And this one, we're going to be focusing on how to land more brand deals. So first and foremost, during our very first masterclass, we did do a giveaway, and the giveaway was to basically go through a profile audit on live and discuss what could be done better for that creator and how, we can continue to improve the content. So let me just get into that. So the winner of that giveaway was Selena Ortiz, and that's her handle. So essentially you had to submit a video of your take on, a good UGC example, and she had a really great example. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys to show you. Once again, this is her profile, so give her a follow. If you're looking for UGC inspo, this is definitely something that I think would help you out if you're a beginner and you don't know what type of style or format to follow. Okay, so let me just head back for a second there and share those video examples with you. Okay. So Selena, I can actually send you a personal audit too, just because we don't have that example to pull out from here. But moving on to the next slide, I'm gonna play these 3 videos for you guys and we're gonna kind of go through them. Adela, can you see this? Can you just nod? Because I could see you. Okay, perfect.
So the only secret to glowing skin is collagen. This hazelnut collagen isn't just delicious. It supports your skin, hair, nails, and joints from the inside out. Sip your glow every morning because feeling good starts from within.
Okay, so we just have this one example here.
So the only secret to glowing skin is collagen. This hazelnut collagen isn't just delicious. It supports your skin, hair, nails, and joints from the inside out. Sip your glow every morning because feeling good starts from within.
Okay. So we're kind of going to go into this example and what we can do to improve. So everything that we're giving you here is basically a tool as constructive criticism in the best way possible, because we obviously want to see you land more brand deals. So that was this example here by the username Blueberry Wonderland. If you happen to be in this masterclass, even if you're not, we hope that you can access this later on. But in the video itself, in this example, you want to focus on, I have it written down in front of me. Sorry, guys. Okay, so you want to focus on incorporating better lighting with clearer camera quality. So one of the tips that I always recommend when you're filming on your iPhone is to literally take a microfiber rag or a sunglass wipe and just wipe your camera, because it makes the world of a difference. And either film in front of a window with head-on lighting that kind of goes forward on, not above, below, or to the side, because it can create shadows and downcasted lighting. And this really does incredibly improve your visual hooks. This is especially important for UGC because this is getting run as ads. So other than better lighting, in this video example, you want to also identify the problem. So in this video here, while the B-roll is great and you could see her making a delicious looking coffee, you also want to make sure that the problems that this product is solving is directly identified, because when something is run through as an ad, you want to educate the buyer, because that purchase decision is going to be made in the 30 seconds of the duration of that entire video. So they need to get as much information on the product as possible, right? Why would you want to choose this coffee as opposed to another coffee? Why is this coffee superior to other brands, right? What makes the difference in ingredients and what problem is it solving? For example, are you experiencing crashes drinking normal coffee and this product is made with ingredients that avoid that, right? So that would have been a great mention to strengthen the conversion rate of this video. Next up, we have on your actual profile, you want to maybe make your username your actual name so that brands can easily identify you. This helps all across the board with personal branding on so many different reasons. And I always tell this to people: if your name is not recognized and easily searchable, it makes it a little bit harder for a brand to want to work with you. So in terms of getting that brand awareness, I would highly recommend always syncing your username with your real name. And you don't necessarily have to add, your last name. No one's asking you to put your social security out there, but at the same time, you want to make your personal brand a little bit stronger and easier to identify. So that's why I always opt for name. Next up is for her personal bio. Once again, if you're here, if you're not, oh, it seems the chat's enabled. Okay, so the chat is enabled. I am not going to be able to see all of this, but you guys chat it up, drop your handles, and make sure that you're connecting with all the creators here, because the one thing you guys all have in common is you are creators. So anyways, back to the task at hand, Blueberry Wonderland's coffee video. You also want to add a clearer location in your bio. So the reason that location is so important for adding into your bio when you're a creator is because there's a lot of brands that want on-site collaborations. For example, even in my own instance, when I switched to narrowing down my location, say to Long Island, New York, I had so many local businesses and restaurants start reaching out, as opposed to having a broader scope of work. Sometimes this is also important for audience demographics, because certain ads want to be run in a certain area, right? You're not going to be selling bikinis in Canada in the winter. You're going to be selling them in Miami and Florida. It just makes more sense, right? So it's geographically important for that reason. Next up, I want to move on to the next example. So I'm going to switch and show you the other when this loads. Give me a second, guys. Oops, hold on. Hold on. Technical difficulties. Okay, give me a second. Okay, you guys can see this, right? Adela, you want to just nod really quick? Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so moving on, we're going to play the video for goalie.
What if I told you you could get this new bundle for $15.78? Yes, Gully just came out with their new arrivals. They've sold over 370,000 of this pack already. There's the ashwagandha gummies. They're very relaxing. The matcha mind cognitive gummies and the apple cider vinegar gummies that are great for heart health and immune health. I'm going to show you exactly how to get it for this price. First, you need to follow Gully to get the $4 off. You need to click the orange cart, slide down, and claim the 30% off coupon, and then you will get this checkout.
I'm going to play it for you guys one more time.
What if I told you you could get this new bundle for $15.78? Yes, Gully just came out with their new arrivals. They've sold over 370,000 of this pack already. There's the ashwagandha gummies. They're very relaxing. The matcha mind cognitive gummies and the apple cider vinegar gummies that are great for heart health and immune health. I'm going to show you exactly how to get it for this price. First, you need to follow Gully to get the $4 off. You need to click the orange cart, slide down, and claim the 30% off coupon, and then you will get this checkout.
Okay, so let's get into this example over here. I'm honestly not even going to exit the screen. There's no reason, but you guys will see this. So for this video, you want to specifically use a stronger hook, right? Hold on, give me 1 second. Yeah, so for this specific video for goalie, you want to use a stronger visual hook. Nowadays, product imagery is not effective at selling as it is when you're actually in the frame. And when brands are landing brand deals, they want to see your face confidently present in front of the camera. Now, the reason why is if you think about it, and I hate using this example, but TikTok Shop specifically and all other UGC platforms are starting to feel, I want to say, similar to QVC. It's a lot stronger when you see someone's facial expressions, their emotions, and their actual presence on camera, as opposed to just products laying in the grass. And I say this in the nicest way possible. Incorporate yourself in the video, right? The entire B-roll should not just be of the product. It should be of the person that's using them, because the emotion behind it often is what also sells. Now, for this example as well, I would use stronger B-rolls, such as adding dynamic scenery. This is something we discussed in the previous class. Once again, will be available on YouTube for you guys to watch. It will not be sent out via email. It's available on YouTube. So that being said, using dynamic scenery that switches anywhere between 0.5 to 1.5 seconds is a lot more effective in keeping the attention span of a viewer. So you can incorporate different B-rolls into this specific example, such as pouring the gummies into your hand, the gummies on a table, the gummies in your bag, taking the gummy, chewing the gummy, reacting to the gummy flavor, right? You want to incorporate the experience of taking this product. And this is especially important with supplements, because supplements are used to always solve health issues. And without making health claims, you can deliver the results visibly, right? For example, similar to the coffee. If you're taking something that's meant for energy, you can show a contrast in energy levels before and after visually, right? A scene of you feeling fatigued and sleepy and tired, and then a scene of you feeling energized and ready to go and ready to conquer the day with a smile on your face. That's a lot more effective at selling than just similar to this. Now, again, with this video, there were no elements of speaking, and stronger conversions happen when speaking or being in the frame of the video. Now, going into your actual page, if you are watching this, your niche is dynamic in being a pet parent, right? That is your verticalization. You're focused on pets. So I would highly encourage you to stick to an 80-20% of verticalization, in which you are now focusing on 80% pet products and incorporating pets into your videos. And you guys, this is something I can answer towards the end in Q&A, but verticalization has been huge for TikTok Shop. And there's actually a video that I posted, shout out to my friend Aisha, who showed me how to find your verticalization and your niche. So anyways, it's not directly a niche, but it is a format in which TikTok knows how to push out your content. So if you are primarily focused in the pet niche, it's going to be harder to sell supplements because you are already catered to the pet audience. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do both at once. You just have to have that 80-20 balance. Next up, I'm going to show you that last example where you can see her beautiful face showing the product. That already is a strong visual hook. So let's get into it.
Ever seen a face mask that literally peels off like jelly? Let me introduce you to B1s. This isn't just any face mask. It's like a spa day in a jar. You apply it, kick back for a bit, and then bam, you peel it off to reveal skin that feels so fresh and smooth.
I'm going to play it one more time.
Ever seen a face mask that literally peels off like jelly? Let me introduce you to B1s. This isn't just any face mask. It's like a spa day in a jar.
You apply it, kick back for a bit, and then bam, you peel it off to reveal skin that feels so fresh and smooth.
Okay, fabulous. So for that specific example, I love the fact that the first frame is her face. So you can see how happy she is. You can see her skin is glowing, right? With skincare products, specifically, you want to show a before and after difference. That is key into making sales. Now, one thing that I would add is maybe perhaps use simple transitions. So instead of using like the CapCut formatted transitions where it seems like there's like a flash or a camera beam or something that switches frames, use simple transitions. Now, the reason why is sometimes people also do get visually overwhelmed. You don't want to add too many spins or effects because it could start to look more like an ad that's overly edited. Now, there is a difference, I want to say, in having that dynamic switch in scenery versus having, just too much going on. And you have to find that balance in your content because you want to keep viewers within the video itself throughout the entire duration. In addition, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but there is a watermark of your username in the video. You cannot submit watermarks to any UGC platform or to the platform itself. Now, the reason why is because TikTok will suppress your content and your growth, and Instagram does the same if a watermark is present in the formatted video. So you want to make sure that you're using original raw cut footage in the edit without any pre-saved watermarks. And this is like a major life hack. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but you can use platforms like TickSave. So it's literally a website called ticksave.com, and you can copy paste your link to your TikTok video, it'll download it in HD to your phone. If for whatever reason you can't set up the setting to just download a TikTok video or it's not downloading as clear as you want it to be. At the same time, what could make this video even stronger is instead of doing a voiceover, you're directly speaking to the camera while peeling the mask off your face. That would also make a really great visual hook. That being said, those were our, audits that we have chosen from the last masterclass. So moving forward into how to land more brand deals. Let's get into it. I just need to shift this really quick. There we go. Okay. So our top creator spotlight, they turned JoinBrands into their growth engine. So now today we have 3 guest speakers on who are going to individually share what worked for them, what didn't, and how they're landing deals on JoinBrands on autopilot. Because the goal is you want to start attracting brands to keep coming back to you for that content because you are making conversions. So first up, we have Alex. He specializes in content that's comedy forward, strategy backed, and scroll stopping. So here's his handle. Make sure that you guys follow him. And we're going to have him come on right now. So Alex, whenever, feel free to unmute yourself. And for 10 minutes, give it all away.
Yeah, what's up, guys? It's nice to be here, Abby. Thank you for all that. I just threw my handle in the chat. So if you guys want to connect after, I love talking to creators. I coach creators, X, Instagram, TikTok a little bit, but those where I'm mostly at. But let me get into what I'm going to share with you today. So I've been on JoinBrands for a while. I've done well over 100. I've done, I think, almost 200 JoinBrands jobs. I have 130 5-star reviews. I've made over 12 grand from JoinBrands alone. So I know a couple things about how to crush it on this platform. And the number one thing I want to emphasize to you guys, especially if you're a newer creator, if you're kind of just getting your feet wet, if you're starting out, if you're like, is UGC for me? I don't know. Do as many jobs as you can. I'm going to say that again. If you are starting out, if you're like, I want to get better at this, you're like, okay, I did the side hustle thing. I want to go all in. I want to be a legit UGC creator. Again, do as many jobs as you can. That was my attitude with JoinBrands and UGC in general. My background, mentioning that, I do comedy forward stuff. I've been a professional comedian for almost 20 years. So I kind of come from a little bit of a more unique background than a lot of creators, I think. But I mentioned that to say that in that world, I was, if you're trying to be any kind of professional entertainer, you just do whatever you can to get noticed, to get better, to get seasoned at the craft. And I applied that same mindset to becoming a UGC creator. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take everything, kind of learn on the fly, study it. And it worked for me, clearly. There's a few things I would say specifically with Join. Oh, and I'll give you one more success story, and then I'll kind of what JoinBrands as a platform has done for me. I'll give you 2 anecdotes right now. So there's a company called Zipstring. They make these like cool toys for kids. It's like a string that you can doing different patterns and stuff. Anyway, and on the note Abby shared about giving your location. So I did a job with Zipstring through JoinBrands. It was great, crushed it. Turns out they live here in Atlanta where I'm located. And they took me to lunch. They were so stoked with the job. We were like chatting and it was like, "Hey, oh my God, we're local." And they took me out to lunch to like, praise how good I did at the job. And it's just kind of fun. Another one, there's a company called Aberlight. Oh, yeah, anybody in Atlanta, by the way, please follow me because I have a studio here and I do creator meetups. Skewed Orbit Studios. I can throw some links later, but we do creator meetups in my studio. I would love to have all you guys the next one. Back to JoinBrands though. There's a company called Aberlight Grooming. They do all kinds of stuff for men. I did a job with them. One of my earlier jobs, it was well over a year ago. The product was kind of like a lotion for men's, you know, parts, if you will. And of course, I made it funny. I'm like, if you the product's called Ball Buddy, and it's supposed to be like to freshen up your, man parts. So I went and made a funny video for them, like, dude, this is great. This is so awesome. We have been in communication, and now I am the face of their YouTube channel for all their products for bald guys. So they have like long form, thank you, Abby, like head shaving reviews and all kinds of stuff for like head care tips, confidence, if you're losing your hair, how to kind of embrace your bald lifestyle. I now am on a monthly retainer with them simply from one Joins brand job. And the reason I got that job, a couple things. This kind of goes back to my point. One, I made sure that I gave them great content. It was a very funny video. It was on point with the product. They loved it. And I was very professional. This is the thing I want to emphasize to you guys that I think, and I mentioned I work with a lot of creators, especially newer creators trying to like get into this space on a professional level. The number one thing that you guys really need to embrace is the mindset that you are a professional at this. Now, again, you might not be yet, and that's fine. But if you want to treat this as a side hobby, that's totally cool. Like, no shame. You get a 9 to 5 that you're happy with. I'm here for that. I love it. You're going to make side hustle money, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're trying to get out of that space, you need to like, I don't know how else to say this other than you just need to fully understand and believe for yourself that you are a legitimate professional at this. And when you do that, when you build that confidence that you're like, yeah, I am really good at this. I am a strategist. I'm incredibly creative. I'm great on camera. My videos convert. Once you like know that in your bones, the brands will feel it. I make the analogy a lot to dating. I'm very happily married, just for reference. But when I was single, when I was out there dating, if you remember, like if you're kind of trying to connect with someone, you have that energy of like, oh, do they like me? I don't know. Like, am I even like worth like being in this conversation? They're gonna sense that. They're gonna feel it from you. Like they're only gonna believe what you truly believe for yourself and you put out there. And it's the exact same with pitching yourself to brands. And if you show up with this mindset of like, I mean, I don't know. I like do it on the side, but like, am I even really good at this? Like, they're gonna smell it. You know what I'm saying? And the best way to build your confidence is to do more jobs. Do those express jobs. I know you guys see them at the top of JoinBrands. I have done so many of those. First of all, like sometimes it's just great because there's a product that you need and then you don't have to buy it. You get it for free. You make like $5. Sometimes you get a tip. Sometimes you build that relationship with the brand when they have other campaigns. But also, like, that is the best way to build out your portfolio, get reviews from brands. And there's other ways that you can use your work on JoinBrands to position yourself as a legitimate creator. One of the best things I love about this platform is how frequent the brands leave feedback. And I'm sure you guys, if you don't have this, you should have social profiles where you promote yourself as like, hey, I am a UGC creator and here's some feedback from the brand. I'm pretty big on X. That's the platform I use the most for promoting myself. Every time I get a 5-star review from JoinBrands, I screenshot it, I go into Canva, I design it with like a headshot, make it look nice, and I throw that on X. And it's like, hey, here's a great client feedback I got from one of my jobs. All of that, again, it's showing other creators and especially brands, hey, I'm, legit at this. Here's a satisfied client. It also reinforces for you, like, yeah, I'm pretty good at this. Because the thing about UGC, it can be very intimidating when you see a creator who's, I don't know if I'd say bragging, but just proudly sharing, like, I'm crushing it. I'm making 10 grand a month. I'm doing this, that, and the other. We all start from somewhere. Just remember that, like, what you see, because I'm very vocal on X, about my successes. Sometimes I share my failings too, and I'll get to that in a second. But remember, everybody starts at zero. It's okay if this is where you're at. And one of the best ways to build that confidence, to show that like, hey, I've gotten a lot better at this, I know what I'm doing now, is to do those things that I just shared. Another tip I will give you, I've made, not recently thankfully, but in my early days of JoinBrands, a few mistakes that I would recommend trying to avoid. One of them, read the brief closely. Read the brief close. X is Twitter, by the way. I saw some people asking it, just so you know, X, Twitter, or whatever. You guys, if you've done JoinBrands jobs, you know that sometimes they want it vertically, sometimes they want it horizontal, landscape, portrait, whatever. I have had a few times where I shot an entire video, multiple scenes, took a whole day in portrait, and I went to upload it, and the app's like, sorry, landscape. So just take a second, because sometimes you're like excited or you're on a time crunch. I have two
You're
toddlers.
not a seasoned creator unless you've done that at least once. I think we've all done it.
Yes. Yeah. So learn from Abby and I. Don't do that. Um, and also pay close attention if there's certain key talking points they want you to hit, if there's certain B-roll shots they want you to hit. Just take a second and make sure, like, in whatever your system is, like for me, I have learned with B-roll, I take whatever it is, I put it in a separate Google Doc, and every time it's been shot, I first highlight it in blue that it's been shot, and then when I edit it, I highlight it in yellow to be like, okay, now it's in my edit. Like, that's just a system I came up with, because again, it can get very overwhelming, especially if you're new to making content or if you're just kind of new to freelancing, anything in this space, right? It can feel overwhelming. These systems can be built. None of us are geniuses, or I'll speak for myself. I'm not a genius. I don't have any like magical powers. I just have sat here and been like, okay, how can I streamline and refine what I'm doing? Because the part of like actually being good on camera, that is a very, very, maybe the most important step. But the other stuff is equally as important. Building those systems, having the infrastructure in place so that you don't get overwhelmed, you don't get burned out. I have done that. That's another thing too. Pace yourself, because there will be a point, this has happened to me, happened to a lot of creators, where you kind of go from this window of like, I just want someone to hire me, please. I'm new. I want to get jobs. Like, I want to do this. And then the floodgates open, and then all of a sudden you have jobs coming in left and right. You're like, okay, this is amazing. But now I don't, you don't want to get in that window where a brand is like waiting an extra week or 2 weeks to get your stuff, because it's going to affect your score. It's going to be unprofessional. So again, it's a good problem to have, but you want to pace yourself to make sure that you have systems in place to allow yourself to be able to, you know, meet the need as the work comes in. Someone asked, I see here in the chat, can you guys speak to editing, how to do it, or finding a good one? So I have a couple systems. I use CapCut. I know that there are a few different editing programs. I use Adobe Premiere occasionally for long videos, but for most of my UGC, it's CapCut. A ton of tutorials online that you guys can learn. YouTube and TikTok has amazing CapCut tutorials. And I also will share with you guys that if you want to outsource your editing, there's a lot of people in other countries that will edit for you incredibly cheap. X is a great resource. You can just post, hey, I'm looking for a video editor. And I have some guys who edit for me in the Philippines, sometimes for as little as 20 bucks a video. Now I will, and I got to wrap it up soon, let the other speakers talk, but I will tell you, I think every creator needs to know how to edit their videos. It's very important, just from, even if you're overseeing another editor, you need to kind of understand the science behind editing. But as you grow, if you want to scale, it doesn't hurt to maybe have another editor or several that you work with to kind of, outsource your work to. And again, if you guys want to follow me, connect, slide into my DMs appropriately, of course, you know what I mean. But I love talking to creators. I love chatting with creators. I would love to continue answering your questions. Hit me up. But I don't want to take up too much time because I know we have a lot to get through. So Abby, thank you. I'm going to hand it back over to you. It was great, guys. I hope you got something.
Thank you so much, Alex. No, I think that had a lot of great information. And once again, here is his handle, I believe, on both TikTok and Instagram. And I'm sure so many of you have so many questions, which I appreciate you trying to get to. So definitely drop them in the Q&A section. You'll see that under more in your Zoom settings. That way we can just separate the questions from the chat and we can try to get to all of them towards the end. But that being said, again, thank you so much, Alex. We now have Adela. So Adela is an actress, content producer, creative consultant, spokeswoman, and a model. which has over 500,000 followers on TikTok. So Adela, whenever you're ready, we'd love to hear some of your story, what you think worked for you in UGC and what failed. So let's have Adela.
Yes, thank you, Abby, for your beautiful introduction. And I'm so happy to be here today sharing some tips and also learning so much from you guys already. So yeah, the way that I started and I actually found out about JoinBrands, it was because 10 years ago, I was doing a lot of Facebook fan page type of content because I was basically sharing with my community, my behind the scenes, like beauty stuff, a lot of tutorial fashion tips that I was learning from the people in the industry. It was not even me. It was more like sharing the inspirational journey of what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur and entertainer in the movie industry. So basically, I I think I ended up doing this by accident because I was not thinking long-term success. I was more focused on what I was doing for a living back then, which it was acting and modeling and TV hosting. And I ended up being part of a creator for a creator, the first creator big event for Pinterest. And they hired me to be part of the community of creating content, more of it like it was more like travel and lifestyle. And this is to show you how I was always pivoting depending on the type of a platform that I will be more successful at. I will actually just I will make sure that I will learn the platform and I will test different ways of content creation. So I was speaking in a Pinterest event where this influencer mentioned JoinBrands, and I'm actually talking about over 3 years ago. And she talked about UGC. I was like, what are you talking about? What is UGC? I didn't even know what she was talking about. And she said, yeah, you gotta try this. And JoinBrands is the one that I'm working with, and they are the best. And that's why I went back home. I think the first couple of days I just signed up and I started to understand what the hell is this because it was so new to me. I was more in the creating the type of content that my audience will be looking forward to. But the good thing with JoinBrands is that I am, like Alex was saying before, I started treating it more like a job. I was like, okay, no more hobby. Like let's try to focus here. And this is what JoinBrands has helped me a lot because I was more like all over the place being a creative more than anything. But what JoinBrands helped me to do was, okay, these are the brief. This is what the people are wanting to like what Abby was saying. The UGC content is very to the point. And it's very important to make sure that you're creating the content that you love because hopefully you're going to be very successful at it and a lot of brands are going to be hiring you all the time, so you better love what you're talking about. And that's what I did. Actually, I was most of the type of content that I was getting hired for, it's been the beauty industry, which I was basically talking about it but more my own way. But it really helped me to understand what people are resonating more with. And that's something that you don't learn. I mean, you can learn it if you are like, there was a point of me where I was just uploading or filming like up to 30 videos every single day to understand what the audience was looking for. But that was when I was growing my accounts. So the beautiful thing about JoinBrands is like they give you the guidelines, and they are these are things that they have been proved to work, and there's a reason why they are looking for it. And it's so easy for you to put it all together and basically like create as much content as you want and as you can. And even if you're not getting paid at the beginning, because it's like your own school. You're learning from experience, and that's what's really in the long term. What's really it's gonna take you to the next level. It's gonna make you stand out from the crowd. So that's why I was saying that create the content that you genuinely love, because you're going to be doing a lot of it. And it's also have fun with it. Have fun with it. And kind of, I know it's kind of tricky because we are in a society that we're always consuming content all the time. Try not to compare yourself with anybody else. You have your own journey and you have your own skills. So nobody's really going to know but yourself. So get to know and learn a lot about yourself and what you're good at, and just make the best out of it, because having fun with the content, being playful, don't take yourself so seriously. I know it can be hard. We can be our worst enemies sometimes, especially when we're in front of the camera. Be nice to yourself. Don't be so harsh, and don't compare yourself with anybody else. Whatever is working for them might not work for you. So it's better just to understand what works for you, what are your biggest strengths and also your biggest weaknesses, so you can become a better creator over time. Those are my tips today.
Thank you so much, Adela. I think those are great tips that everyone can take away from. I think that at the end of the day, so far, what we've learned is stay authentic to who you are, right? That's the common theme that we're seeing, as well as all the other beautiful tips that we can rewatch. So next up, we have Matthew. So Matthew is a certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, and women's fitness specialist with a following of 14.6K on TikTok, and this is his handle. So we'd love to hear what Matthew has to say about his success on social media, how JoinBrands has played into it, his tips, and some of the failures. So let's get right into it.
Hello, hello, Abby. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I'm so excited to be here. I haven't had an opportunity to do something like this yet, so I'm just so grateful to Join Brands for thinking of me and including me in this awesome webinar. And I'm excited to talk a little bit about what Join Brands has done for me and some of the things that I think have worked and what hasn't worked. So. As Abby kind of mentioned, I'm a personal trainer. I'm a nutrition coach. I am a women's fitness specialist. So I was a full-time personal trainer, turned into a full-time UGC creator. So it's kind of a funny story about how that happened, because I honestly never thought that I would have been somebody that would be, well, I guess considered good at UGC. I was always shy. It didn't really seem, I don't know, it never really crossed my mind. But I met my wife at the gym there that I was working at. And well, long story short, she kind of uh, changed me. She changed me for the better. She really brought me out of my shell. She took me out of my comfort zone. So much to the point that we decided to quit our jobs and we decided to travel across the country. And in that, we went from Pennsylvania to Florida to Arkansas to Wyoming and Montana, all the way to the West Coast. We got in our car, we took our dog with us, and we traveled. And so, in a way, that's where this whole thing started, because we were trying to figure out what we were going to do for income. And so, we turned out, Instagram started going pretty well for us. We started posting content, health, wellness, fitness, lifestyle, travel, all that good stuff. And, we started to get a pretty decent following, and we're like, okay, so what's the next step? And that's when my wife actually, she should be on here with me, because without her, I would not be here. She found Join Brands. I'm honestly not sure how she came across it, but she's very talented. She edits the videos. Like I said, she should be on here with me, because without her, I would not be doing this right now. But she edits all the videos. She has done absolutely fantastic job. And after she found it, like she did the whole portfolio and everything. She got all the certifications, and we landed our first job, and it was just so fitting because it was for electrolytes. And we're like, okay. And they wanted us to post on our Instagram and everything. And so we got this product, and we were in Utah at Arches National Park. And so we decided that we would shoot the video there, and the brand just absolutely loved it. We posted on our Instagram. We got great results, and that's the beginning of all of it. I mean, it really was a whirlwind because we were just trying to figure out what to do. And here we came across this UGC. Like, at one point I was like, what the heck is UGC? And now we've made a full-time job out of it. It has been such a whirlwind. And, like, I'm talking about all the good stuff, but sometimes, there's a lot that goes into it, and at first I think what we were thinking is that it would be like just cool to go out and be able to travel and shoot these videos, but it's not as simple as it sounds, And so I think that, Adela, when you had mentioned you learned so much so far on this webinar, I've learned a ton already, and I appreciate you guys, Join Brands and Adela and Alex, because this is how we can grow, right? This is how we grow as creators and as a community. And so I think that some of the tips that I have, like, focus on your goal. Like I said, this wasn't something that we had planned to do in the beginning, but once we decided to do it, like, we made it a goal of ours. So, like, you just got to put in the reps daily and it'll happen. I saw somebody in the comments earlier had mentioned that they've applied to jobs, but they haven't heard anything back. Just keep moving forward, keep putting in the reps, keep doing what you have to do in order to get those jobs. And then, like, I've done work on Join Brands for over a year now. I've made over $12,000. I have 160 some five-star reviews, but that was just like the start of it. While I continue to work on Join Brands, I have to work on other platforms in order to make this a full-time job. So, working on other platforms, apply to jobs, pitch to companies, go out and find your favorite companies, figure out who you can email and send them an email. We've utilized AI quite a bit. So we'll even ask, to the point we'll ask ChatGPT, um, hey, who are some brands that are looking for UGC creators that are in the health, wellness, and fitness niches, right? And so, like, chat will come up with a whole list of different companies and contacts, the best contact to reach out to. So don't just rely on the platforms. Definitely keep applying on there. Don't give up. But also pitch other brands, and then just do that on repeat. Like I said before, just try to be consistent. Something that kind of comes from my fitness background, something that we're a program that we're running in my side job now as a personal trainer is a program, and the program revolves around being consistently good instead of occasionally perfect. You don't have to be perfect all the time. I mean, that's not realistic. That's not something that we can do with everything that we have going on in life. But if you can be occasionally, I mean, if you can be consistently good, 85% of the time, just do the work, you will be successful. All right. I can speak from experience. Um, Something that really worked for me was staying flexible with my style, but keeping true to me, staying authentic to what I do, but also being able to adjust. As Alex had mentioned earlier, apply to all the jobs, just try to get jobs. And so, like, that's what I did in the beginning. And it was, well, like he said as well, it got kind of overwhelming. But it was sometimes hard to stick to my style, or to be flexible with my style and keep it me. But I think that overall, like, I was able to adjust, and that's another really great tip, is being able to adjust and adapt to all the I'm sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. Um, Adapt, right? It's an ever-changing world. Just make sure that you can adapt and adjust with the times, right? Um, and remember, your portfolio is your resume, so make it stand out. Again, stay consistent. That's how you go from, like, this was a side hustle at one point and now it's my full-time job. So just stay consistent. I'm telling you, if I can do it, you can do it too. And a pro tip is just find what you love creating the most and double down on that. So like I've done a lot of jobs for different brands and different types of companies and different industries, but I definitely thrive most when I'm doing health, wellness, fitness, lifestyle, and also we have a pet, Maya. She stars in some videos as well. But yeah, I mean, find what you love creating, just go for it, start doing it, and don't give up because if I can do it, you can do it too. So that's all I got. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much for that, Matthew. I think that's an incredible story, especially knowing that you go from a full-time job to doing something else full-time, and traveling while doing it too. I think there's a lot of monetizable opportunities where you can get travel collabs as well. So thank you again so much for joining us and for sharing your story. I think a key takeaway we could take away from that is be adaptable, right? Because even as you are traveling and shifting and changing all these careers and even becoming more confident in front of the camera, you do have to have adaptability. So that being said, let's continue into the rest of our presentation. Now, you guys, I want this to take this as an opportunity. What is one thing that you will be stealing from everything that you've learned from these creators? Just drop something in the chat. Take this as an opportunity to talk with each other. What's something that's super valuable that you have learned? We don't have to go through the chat now, but just for up for discussion for Q&A after. You guys feel free to read and interact with each other and definitely give them all a follow. Like I said, this will be on YouTube and you can find all the handles. Let's see. So next up is what makes a brand say, yeah, we want to hire this creator. This is the creator that we're going to work with, right? So first up is authenticity and trust. People do not buy ads, they buy honesty. So this goes back to everything that we have already discussed, the authenticity portion of being who you are and choosing products that actually resonate. So first and foremost is you want to use and believe their products, right? I'm not going to use a product like Alex promoted because I'm not a man. So, you know what I mean? Take it with honesty. Like, what is it that you like to promote? Because that's going to come across on social media. If I have a cat, I'm not going to be picking dog products, right? If I don't have kids, I'm not going to be taking on jobs that don't have kids. So you want to choose things that actually fit into your lifestyles, not the ones that are just getting in for the money. Because when you chase after money, unfortunately, that's all you're going to be chasing after, and it's not going to be authentic. Next up is your audience's trust is your biggest flex, and you want to protect that, right? So the community that you're building is important. If you're promoting 15 different supplement companies, even if you take all of those, it starts to look a little questionable. Everyone's like, well, last week I saw her promoting this fiber supplement, but this week it's this fiber supplement. So which fiber supplement is actually the better one, especially when they're competitive brands, right? You want to make sure that you are actually putting out content that is trustworthy. Next up, we have selectivity. Sorry, guys, I'm losing my voice a little. So you want to only promote what fits your real life. That's something I already touched on, and it keeps your credibility solid. Next, we have brands. Scan your content for emotion. So going back to the very first examples that I played for you guys, when you actually put yourself into a video and you're showcasing your emotional reactions, your face speaks for yourself as you're talking, you're not robotic, you have genuine excitement. You say, for example, talk with your hands like I do. I don't know, it's a European trait. But you are authentically you, and your emotions show through when you're doing something. People resonate with that. People can see that, they understand it, and that's exactly why it is important. Next up, we also have what type of content and storytelling works. So pretty posts get likes, right? But good stories get sales. And oftentimes that's, I feel, what makes the difference between Instagram and TikTok, which is why Instagram is struggling a little bit with trying to push forward monetizing when it comes to just regular average posts, because the things that we see that is trending is not necessarily what's converting. So when you have something that is beautiful and gorgeous and showcases a product with really great B-roll with trending audio versus a video that's beautiful and gorgeous and has beautiful B-roll, but also information about the product, a voiceover that's telling you that what the product is solving does, text on screen that's also showcasing those pain points that the product is solving, you have a much more stronger conversion rate. That's something that isn't like that. So Nowadays, the biggest thing in social media that we're seeing is storytelling, right? It's not just, hey, I have this beautiful product that helps me get unconstipated. It's, hey guys, do you know that I went out last night and my tummy hurts so bad and yada, yada, yada. And you wrap them into the story about why they need this fiber supplement. I'm just using this as an example. So I know it's whatever across the top of my head. But anyways, you want to tell a story that connects, not just showing off products, right? Because they're not there for the product, they're there for you. So you want to use clear visuals, good lighting, strong storytelling, and like I said in the very first masterclass, which again you can access on YouTube, hooks are important. And that gives the brand confidence in knowing that they want to work with you because they'll look at you and they'll say, would I trust this person to represent my brand? Right? So next up, we have the professionalism and reliability aspects. This is something that Alex touched upon. Talent gets attention and reliability gets repeated deals. So when you are professional and you come across as punctual in response, you're using correct grammars, you're greeting the person that's hiring you via the chat, you're actually interacting with them as a potential client as opposed to, oh yeah, I just need to do this UGC video. It comes across so much more effectively to that brand and creates an impression. So you want to communicate clearly and meet the deadlines. You don't want to just ghost them and not tell them when you're going to deliver the content if you're late. You want to respond fast, deliver on time, and handle feedback. And this is a question, by the way, that I get so frequently is how do I get brands to leave a review in JoinBrands? When you finish up a deal, just chat them in the JoinBrands chat and say, hey, I loved working with you guys. I would appreciate if you can leave a positive review on my profile based on your experience, and they will likely do it, right? It's just about communication. So then we have consistency. Consistency shows that you're not just a hobbyist. You're a business. You're treating this professionally. And a solid reputation behind the scenes travels fast because you guys may not know this, but a lot of business owners that sell a singular product usually also have multiple businesses under one umbrella selling different products. And they might come back to you with another opportunity just because they know the quality of your work. That is the key on getting retainers, right? You create good content with good communication and good conversions, and they come back for more. Next, we have measurable results and data minded, right? Numbers do not lie. Again, with the conversions. Understand a brand's metrics and prove their impact. Understand your own metrics and prove your impact to the brand. What I mean by that is when you look at your follower demographic, who is your primary audience? What is their location? And is that community interacting with you, right? When we see an Instagram account that has 50,000 followers, but they're getting 3 likes and they're getting 2 comments, you're like, okay, this person has a fake following, right? Their community is not strengthened. And you know that your metrics are not as strong for posing to a brand. That's why nowadays, micro influencers falling within a range of 2,000 to say 50,000 followers are more valuable because even though they're not celebrities, for example, like Alex Earl with a massive following, they have a stronger connection to their community because they have a smaller audience base that consistently interacts with them. So you have to know what your engagement rate is, your own conversion data, and your audience insights. Because like I said before, location matters, your demographic matters. You're not going to be a 20-year-old selling anti-aging wrinkle cream to a group of 60-year-olds. It just does not align and it is not trustworthy. Next, you also want to have a clean portfolio because that gives you credibility. I have posted several tips on the JoinBrands channel on what you guys can do to improve your portfolio under the portfolio and app playlist. But in your JoinBrands app, you will be able to upload video examples that actually showcase examples of your work. And I'm going to give you a hint. I was actually at a dinner in New York City last week that was hosted by a very large platform, and I got to interact with a lot of business owners and brands. And, I got to chatting with one of the business owners, and they tell us that they are more likely to hire a creator when their examples show versatility. They don't want to just hire someone who's consistently just showing beauty product, beauty product, beauty product, voiceover, right? They're more likely to choose you if your portfolio has examples of you doing different niches, different speaking styles, for example, green screen voiceover speaking to camera, other than just a simple unboxing video and one niche. And the reason for that is because UGC is actually catered to a multitude of different products. And if a brand, once again, has different businesses or they're an agency and they're using a platform like JoinBrands, you'll likely get hired more because you're showcasing those different abilities because they need adaptability and versatility. So again, this brings me back to thinking like a marketer. How can you help the brand grow, right? How can you utilize your talents to help them grow? Next, we have a brand creator value match. So if your vibe doesn't match their tribe, that rhymed, it's not going to work. So you definitely have to make sure that the examples that you're putting out are matching the quality they're looking for. So again, versatility, good lighting, good hooks, good body, good call to action, and really nailing down, like Adela said, those to the point videos. They want to see your values, your tone, and your personality. They look for consistency. They want to see high energy emotion. They do. That's again everything that we've just spoken about. If you're sleek and you're calm, you can go for minimalist or luxury brands, right? We see the deciphered difference between high-end luxury brands versus creators who are a lot more funny and relatable. You will still get equally as much opportunity in the different niches. You just have to brand yourself correctly. And the best partnerships often happen when it doesn't look like an ad. It feels like a natural collab. So again, back to the videos that I reviewed all the way in the beginning, to avoid looking like an ad, you want to incorporate the storytelling and information in points that feels connected with emotion and personality. Now, brand perception comes exactly from how your energy and your visual communication influence. So, we're going to get into how your JoinBrands profile can work for you. So, this is essentially, and if you guys want to take a photo of this while you're on the webinar, I would highly encourage it. I'm not going to go through all of this because I have already posted videos on our channel, on our TikTok. So, make sure you follow us. And I do also share tips on my personal, Abby Fridman. But you want to make sure that you are utilizing all of these effects to get the most optimized JoinBrands profile when you're applying for jobs, because you will likely come to the top when you have all of these details fulfilled. Because I have creators coming to me who don't even have a portfolio made and they're like, well, I can't get hired for a job. I apply to 50 jobs. Well, hello, is your portfolio complete? How is a brand supposed to hire you if they can't see your resume? And imagine this, if you're competing with thousands of other creators who are applying for that same job, they're going to choose the person that's more prepared. So you have to look at this as a decent job opportunity, right? You don't walk into a corporate building without a suit and tie and a resume, right? You have to make sure you uphold that same standard of professionalism when it comes to applying to brands, even through a platform. Now, here's a quick hack that'll help you get hired faster. Excuse me for a minute. So you're going to want to record at 20 to 30% higher energy than your usual. So I like to bulk shoot my content. I have shooting days and I have days where I have editing days, right? I feel that this is more effective for me to get out as many deals as possible in a day. And I tend to choose the day that I'm most excited, right? You do your hair, your makeup, you dress nice, you feel ready to go, you feel energized, maybe caffeinated, and you're like, okay, I feel better being in front of the camera right now than I would on a day when it's raining and I don't feel that up to it, right? Because you want to appear high energy. I don't necessarily think that you're going to need to film 3 takes of the same script, but perhaps when you are a beginner and you're doing a voiceover or you're doing a teleprompter in your CapCut app, you're going to want to re-say things sometimes. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of bloopers I have in a singular video. It happens. It's normal. Don't feel bad about it. Creators that have been doing this for 6 years like myself still make errors, and that's okay. So if you have to repeat it, do it again. Next up is you want to pick 5 creators that are in your niche or niche adjacent who consistently hook viewers, and you want to sort the feed to find their most viral videos. But don't copy them, because even though imitation is the highest form of flattery, you can steal the sauce, but the pizza will never be the same. So you want to analyze how these creators are delivering. You want to see what's their camera angle, their tone, their energy, their editing, what's their hook look like, which is the first 2 seconds, their body language. Why are these videos succeeding, and how can I apply those same strategies to my own? And give yourself a weekly review. This is heavy on TikTok Shop. I actually tell my friends this, and I tell my training clients this, that when you go into your TikTok Shop, give yourself a weekly analysis, even monthly, right? The larger scope is better in TikTok Shop. What am I doing that's good? What is selling? And why is this video doing good? Because you can access those analytics all in TikTok Shop Creator Studio. Now, every brand is going to see a different version of you depending on what you put out. So you have to make sure that that brand reflects your values to your true authenticity. Again, that's that repeated term over and over. And I want you guys to use that as an opportunity to think about the common question that I give when I do one-on-one strategies is, who are you? And it's more so a rhetorical question. Like if I asked you to summarize who you are to me, can you answer that? I want that to come across in your videos, in every single video. Now, it's time for a challenge. Now that we zipped through that, but time is flying. I can't believe it. So for this challenge, I want you to pitch a product that you love and use every single day as if that brand was paying you to make the video. And obviously, I recommend when you post this to your channel, you want to actually tag the brand because they might see it and you never know how that'll go. But you also want to tag us so that we can feature your favorites, our favorites, maybe even on the JoinBrands channels, which gets so much exposure. And one winner will get $100. When we say in the JoinBrands account, that means that you'll just get a payout of $100. You won't even have to complete a job. It'll just be there when you win. So for your next masterclass session, you will get the chance to also have your profile audited just like this, but that's only if you attend to the challenge and post the video. Now, here are the rules. Take a screenshot, tag JoinBrands, also tag the brand because you never know, they might see it. This has happened to me on so many occasions. I give that advice all the time. And use hashtag JB Masterclass. So you want to submit your entry through the form only. I'm sure the form will be provided. That's going to be confirmed by JoinBrands. If it's not, we will still see it through the Masterclass hashtag. And the deadline, submit it before the next Masterclass because we will be having more. Now it's Q&A time, as if I'm already not out of breath, but I love doing this with you guys. So let's get into the Q&A section. Let me just pull it up really quick. Whew, 46 questions. All right, let's get into it. Okay, you say versatile. Let me try to get to the top here because I missed a lot of questions. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And it keeps growing. Just bear with me. I'm going to get to as many as I can in the next half hour. And also, guys, feel free to follow me on my personal handle. It's Abby Fridman. I'm going to type it in the chat. Follow us on JoinBrands as well if you're not. But I obviously am a top performing TikTok shop creator. I have videos that have reached millions, which make great examples to follow. And at the same time, I do frequently post a lot of business advice on my Instagram, my personal channel, but that's my handle, as well as JoinBrands as the face of JoinBrands. So a lot of these questions, if I see that I have answered them, I will actually just kind of skip over it for that reason because I have made a video on it before. So here we go. I have a lot of products in my store, but I want to focus on about 30 items. Should I delete all the other items in my store? I'm assuming that you mean that the products are in your TikTok shop's showcase. Truthfully, your showcase does not matter. Nobody shops from showcases. They shop from your videos. The showcase is there for you to be able to easily link the products. And truthfully, I think TikTok is going to start migrating the showcase similar to Amazon playlists. Nothing to worry about. Leave it as it is. Doesn't really matter. I typed my handle in the chat. It's Abby Fridman, ABBYFRIDMAN. I'm going to type it again because there's a lot of chats going through. Oh, because I had it set to hosts and panelists. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little slow today. Okay. Oh, that's not the right one. I didn't even type it right. ABBYFRIDMAN. I know everyone got an introduction page and I didn't, but I guess it's because I'm the face. So anyways, sorry guys. All right, next question. Should I have a separate TikTok channel for personal and for business as a creator to be vertical? First of all, no, the answer to this is no. And your TikTok channel as a creator should never be set to business. A business page is for sellers who are selling products and shipping them. And a creator page is for creators who are promoting as TikTok shop creators in the program. So for you to be vertical, actually, I posted a video this week. Again, shout out to my friend Aisha because she showed me how to do this. She's also an amazing creator. So you can see if you go into creator search insights. So if you search up creator search insights, you will click on that And once you do, it takes you to a page. I have a visual example of this on our JoinBrands channel where you will see what verticalization you are. It will either say, for example, rising fashion style pro or exploring creator. And exploring creator means that you have not yet picked your niche. That means you're doing multiple different niches. Now, how they determine is typically what I see it could be as low as 60% or 70% to a 30% ratio. 70% is one category, 30% is everything else. So you could still do other categories, but you'll be seeing a lot more success if you're directly in one. So for example, if you guys ever look at my personal TikTok, which is a TikTok shop page, I am a rising fashion and style pro. You can still see home items, you can still see beauty items, but a majority of what I focus on is fashion, style, and accessories, and you will see that through my content. Yes, for those asking, this will be available on YouTube. Okay, next question. How do you avoid being ghosted by brands? I often reach out multiple times and never hear back, despite it being the right contact. Unfortunately, if you're reaching out to them via email and you don't have an email signature, or your email looks a little shady, or you don't have a profile attached to your email, such as a facial, like an actual profile picture, or you're not being professional enough, this can avoid a brand from answering you. This also happens in JoinBrands. Like I said, if you don't have an actual portfolio, you're going to see a lot of struggle in getting hired because you're in competition with all the other creators who are better prepared. They came to the interview with a resume and a pen, and you came to the interview with nothing. So you want to make sure that your portfolio is completed, your certifications are completed, and when you are reaching out to brands, your email is fully loaded with as much information about who you are, where to find your channels, and why you should be working with that brand, right? Because you don't want to just work with them for money. You want to work with them because you have a vision as to why you can resonate with that brand. How do you recommend creators negotiate long-term contracts when discussing short-term paid opportunities? When the brand wants to offer you lower fees, but you don't want to agree to the lower rate. So, as a creator who's been doing this for 6 years, I've run into this problem several times. And at the point, I am lucky when I can just walk away because there's enough money to go around. When you're on a platform like JoinBrands, you actually are now, we just rolled out a new feature where you can now negotiate with brands. So for creators who are level 2 or level 3, you can negotiate back with a brand and submit your counter offer if you find that your content has more value. I will be posting a video, if I haven't already, this week on that same feature that just came out. So you want to make sure that you use it. Someone said, is the app portfolio the only one we should have, or is there a website link? It is the app portfolio. Okay, when pitching to a house project collaboration to a brand where a whole room is getting to be transformed and you want them to either sponsor the whole thing or just one element, what's the best way to pitch or mood board it? See, this is where I ask, are you a creator? Because as a creative, it is your job to creatively pitch yourself. Now, how I would have done this was I would have gone to Pinterest and I would have gone to Canva and I would have put together a mood board of what I want that vision to look like, but also incorporating images from the brand. So I hope that kind of answers your question. Excuse me. And I hope that makes you see that you have to identify a creative way to convey your vision, because why else would they want to work with you? If you can't condemn that vision in an email pitch, how are you going to execute it in a video format, right? Okay, how do you address the results of supplements where there's not enough time within the job timeline to determine results? Is it an acting mode for an ad versus a review? Again, this is why choosing a supplement company that you're confident in, that you take, that you believe in, is more apparent, because unfortunately for UGC jobs, there is a deadline and no one's going to expect you to witness the miraculous forms of magnesium that should be given to you in a month in a period of 3 days. But guess what? You're going to have 3 days or 5 or 7 to submit a video. Let's be real here. That's why it's up to you. Do you want to act based on the information and data that's available to you from the brand, the brief, or the clinical studies? Or are you going to be partnering with a brand that you've taken before? And I'm just going to leave it at that. I personally promote the products that I have been taking for a while because it comes across authentic when I take them. Like, I have this brand that I'm partnered with. It's called Feel Goods. And I partner with them on TikTok Shop. And it's basically like a gut guardian type of fiber. So it helps with bloating and it's all natural, which is why I love it. Because you'll see on my page that I'm very heavy with natural or holistic products. Like, I don't like using things that are artificial ingredients. And when I tell you, you take that stuff and it just goes right through you. It's fiber. So it works. It works for me. And when I put it out in my videos, it works. And it's something that I actually like using. So again, use your discernment to see what it is that you want to be promoting. Okay. Often when I share my rates, which are competitive to a brand, they come back saying it's above their budget, and then they'll have to pass without trying to negotiate down. I would definitely consider less, but I need to know where their budget sits before I agree. Most don't even share this or carry on the conversation. First and foremost, the biggest mistake I see creators making when it comes to sharing your rates is you will share your rates first. So here's an example instance. This is the best way I could pose it for you. Let's fake a conversation. Brand says, I would love to create content with you. What's your rate for X, Y, and Z deliverable? You say, oh, great. This is the right answer, by the way. I would absolutely love to execute deliverable X, Y, and Z for you. So I can better quote you. Please tell me what your budget is for these deliverables. You see how you just answered a question with a question, but you did it really eloquently to a point where they now have no choice but to answer you back? Because how are you going to answer another question with another question with another question, right? They have to tell you what their budget is. Now, the beautiful thing about JoinBrands is that you see how much they're paying. So that's why JoinBrands is there. And you can negotiate based on the pay that's written there in that. Can you repeat the budget question, right? I'm going to repeat the answer. So if they say like, how much would you charge for X, Y, and Z? You're going to say, I would absolutely love to create X, Y, and Z for you. So I can better quote you, what is your budget for the above deliverables? Very seldom are they ever going to say, well, we want your rate. Sometimes they'll just straight up give you the budget because they don't want to do this dance back and forth. So that's that. Now, in the instance that you have already given them your rate and they say it's above their budget, you can counter back and say, well, I really love your brand and I do think I can deliver this concept well. So what is your budget? I would love to negotiate this with you. Right? It's all about finding a common language. It's all about communication. What about when they offer products instead of money? How do you negotiate that? Sometimes you don't, because truthfully, a lot of these brands that offer negotiated deals like that, they don't have budget. And that's okay if you have to pass up on them. But if you are a beginner creator, it's good to get that under your belt just to have an example of work. So sometimes, and everybody starts at zero, like we said throughout this entire webinar, everyone starts at zero. You are going to have to start accepting a little bit of what you're used to in comparison to the creators who have been earning for years now. How can creators get collabs outside their niche without it affecting the algorithm? So UGC is content that you don't have to post. So that's the beauty of it. You don't have to pick a niche in UGC. How do you balance UGC work when you have another job responsibility? What's an ideal schedule? So I love this because I personally time block. So each day, my calendar is insane, especially for Q4, but what I like to do is time block, right? So I have certain days designated towards just filming, and I have certain days designated towards just editing. Because the beauty about bulk filming in one day is, guess what? You get ready once, you can do it all in one day. You can do it in one setting, in one location, for example, if you're working from home, as opposed to now editing, where you could do that from anywhere throughout the week. So schedule your time wisely. Find a balance that works for you. What is a time slot that you feel most comfortable filming in, where you can now carry that with you throughout the week? What if we only get offered jobs we don't want or don't use for one reason or another? There are so many jobs out there that I just refuse to believe that at least one of them is not for you. So you have to keep an open mind. And again, something that Alex mentioned at the beginning of the presentation is that you're going to sometimes have to take the jobs that you don't necessarily want to take because maybe the pay doesn't match your expectation or you think you deserve more. But it's like walking into, say you want to become a doctor, right? But you only have your associate's degree. You still have to get your bachelor's and your master's and graduate med school, right? So you have to work your way up. This is the same in every category of life. This is not just a UGC principle. It is literally just a principle of life. You have to work your way up. Okay. Trying to just read through the questions. I don't want to get redundant. I want to make sure that I get questions that actually give you guys impact. So all right, I haven't been landing any brand deals on JoinBrands. I took a break earlier this year, but lately I haven't had much luck. I'm not a beginner, so I'd love to know if there's something off. So I have made several videos on JoinBrands for this very category. You want to make sure that you know it's first come, first serve. So check the app daily, apply to at least 10 collaborations on the app. Keep all your certifications uploaded. Right now, there are up to 19 different certifications. So the more certifications you have, the more network of jobs you have available too. Next up is you also want to make sure you're updating your portfolio. Get reviews, update the portfolio, get newer examples out there. Why do brands try to pay as little for $50 a video when it takes 2 days to film and over a week to edit? Because unfortunately, sometimes brands just don't have the budget. And again, read the brief. If you think that that brief deserves more money and you're a level 2 or a 3 creator, you can now counter back, or you can just walk away from the job. Again, it's all about picking the flexibility that's there. Laying out a portfolio in JoinBrands, you don't need to worry about a layout. It actually gives you a layout and it prompts you. Do you recommend sharing any personal life-like vlogs, personal recommendations on my pages while also being a blah, 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 blah. Why did I just pass? While also wanting to be a UGC creator? Yes, times a million. You always want to incorporate personality because now, again, storytelling and personal branding is what's growing as opposed to someone who's just trying to sell, 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 sell. How can small creators stand out to brands when we don't have a massive following count? Now, UGC does not require a following count. It just requires examples. Again, if you complete your portfolio, that portfolio of example work will be visible. And secondly, post your UGC examples on your social media and brand yourself as a UGC creator. Make sure it's in your bio. Make sure you have an email that they can contact to. Make sure when you're posting, you tag the brand so that they see it, because how would they ever see it if you never shoot your shot? Okay. How can we see different jobs? There's a filter icon. I did make a video about this on how to navigate the app. So just check our channel and JoinBrands. There's a lot of like technical little tutorials. I've learned my niche, but gaining follower traction is the hardest with TikTok shop limits. Do you still post content without being able to link the product to help build your profile? I just lost that question, but the general gist is follower count does not necessarily mean conversions. It does not matter. You could have a low follower count, but you could be making $60,000 a month on TikTok Shop just because your videos are that high converting, just because you've already verticalized and you're doing 5 to 10 different videos a day. This is a question for Adela. For female creators, should we have our hair and makeup done for our videos or should we be raw? Go ahead, Adela.
That's a really good question. I think it really depends on the vibe of the brand. I usually go to see what they have on their social media accounts, and I see if they have like more like a natural vibe, I will go with that. But if they're more like posting content of ladies that are more well put together and with their makeup and hair done, I would definitely do that as well. So I will just review their social media platforms and see what their vibe is in order for you to meet that vibe as well.
I love that. I also think that when it comes to social media, when you're just you, right? Sometimes I have makeup on, sometimes I look like I am Adam Sandler. So you can literally just be you at any given time, and that would be amazing. Yeah. One more thing I did want to add too is when it comes to you having your portfolio done, there is a feature for you to have a pitch video. I'm just getting a reminder from the team that you guys don't want to miss out on. But your pitch video is an opportunity for you to pitch yourself speaking that gets uploaded into JoinBrands. So that is heavily important in addition to your portfolio. So all of that coincides within the JoinBrands app. Again, I have tutorials on our JoinBrands TikTok channel. Next up, this is a question for Matt. So for fitness creators, are there any tips on what we can do on the JoinBrands platform to hit our niche more? So Matt, feel free to enter whenever.
Hey, to hit the niche more, can you kind of clarify that question? What do you mean by hit the niche more?
I think I'm under the assumption that they mean they want more jobs in that niche. So what would you recommend they do in order to land more jobs in the fitness niche?
Oh, so I mean, I think that taking the express jobs in the beginning is really good advice. I know that although they weren't exactly the pay that we were looking for, they helped us build the portfolio. So our portfolio became largely, after we did a lot of express jobs, it became largely health, wellness, and fitness. And then I think from there, once the brands can see the portfolio, that helped us get more jobs in that niche.
Awesome. Next question is for Adela. If you're bilingual, should you have two separate accounts for each language, English and Spanish? What do you think?
Yes, definitely. You get it's interesting because I started my account in Spanish, and then I started getting brand deals in English. So it really depends on what you want to focus on, I would say. I personally did the way I did it was that I started creating the content in Spanish, but then the agencies, they started sending me brand deals in English, and they really didn't care because they wanted my audience either way. But UGC is very different. So, but everybody, I actually had a meeting with Meta Business last week, because I'm enrolling on something with them, and they told me to keep separate accounts. If it's Spanish, you go for Spanish. If it's English, go for English. So I would definitely separate them.
That's T coming directly from Meta, guys. That's really great information. Thank you.
Of course.
Next question is for Alex. Do you think that humor is good for any sort of brand deals? Let's see. I don't know if you, but go ahead whenever you're
I
ready.
didn't see no, but I would say I mean almost everything. Like I've done some jobs, like I had one I got hired for recently for life insurance. Honestly, if you can make it work, sure. But I would say the vast majority of the time, at the end of the day, brands just want stuff that's going to sell authentically, right? So if you can get an audience to pay attention, to stick around, click through rate, all that stuff, humor is a phenomenal way to do that. It also just shows like a way that you can be more engaging in general. There isn't, I tell this to everybody, like anyone can learn how to write a joke. Not everybody can be naturally funny the same way. Like anybody can learn how to play basketball, but not everybody can be an athlete. But you don't have to have like Netflix comedy special humor in this stuff. All you're really doing is taking a pain point and finding a way to make it, a little bit relatable, a little bit funny. It's actually a lot easier than you might think. My advice to anyone who wants to level up at being funnier with your content, just start studying stuff on TikTok that makes you laugh and figure out like why does it like not even UGC. I'm just saying any creator that's making funny content about anything and just start looking at it scientifically, like critically study why did this make me laugh? What did they do that piqued my interest, that got me to hang around, that made me chuckle? And then just figure out how you can apply that to your own life and put it into your videos.
That
I hope
was
that
great
helps.
advice.
Thanks.
I'm gonna get to two more questions because we're nearing the hour and a half mark. There's two questions that I feel really stick out to me right now. So it says, Abby, can we have a portfolio if we don't have that much work? What should I do? So take any household item that you have and sell it. If I say, sell me this tumbler, sell me this pen, sell me this coffee in front of you, how would you create a UGC video, right? Your hook, your body, and your call to action. You can use whatever you already own to make an example and showcase that example on your portfolio. So you literally do not even have to be well seasoned. I don't need to work with Starbucks to put Starbucks vlogs on my social media. I go there and get my coffee, or vice versa, whatever cafe, doesn't matter. So essentially, you use your own things to build up the experience to showcase what you're capable of doing. The next question is, you say versatility, but yet we have to stay vertical in our niche, our niche. Why can't I speak? I'm sorry, guys. I'm like, hello. You say versatility, but yet we have to stay vertical in our niche. Is that a contradiction? So I meant two different things. So versatility in UGC and getting hired by brands, right? Not versatility in the type of products you're promoting on TikTok Shop, right? So TikTok Shop is what does what's called verticalization, where you now have to be in 80% category of, say, for example, fashion and style, and 20% can be something else, or 70% of a category and 30% can be something else. Use those ratios. That's the products you're promoting, right? But versatility is the style of content. and the different types of brands. So when it comes to uploading into your portfolios on JoinBrands or into a media kit, this means use different video styles. You're going to be speaking to the camera. You're going to be doing B-rolls, voiceovers, green screens, ad style content, and make sure that these are all differently formatted with different products because they want to know that you can apply that versatility to their brief. I hope that clears up that answer. I'm just going to try to get to one more question because I have a minute. And then after this, we're going to wrap it up. But once again, this entire webinar is going to be available on YouTube. If you were a creator starting from zero, what would your first 3 moves be? Get on the app. Get on the app, get on all the social media platforms, and start posting consistently. Start posting consistently. If I could start from scratch, again, the very first thing that I would do is I would make sure that I have a very fulfilled and lively bio, name, contact information, and all of my examples are uploaded into my media kits and portfolios on the app. And post consistently. TikTok is opting for 5 to 10 times a day. Instagram prefers Reels once a day. I did have a call with Meta actually, I want to say 3 weeks ago, and they are converting the platform to video formatting only because video formatting is what's performing well. So Adela, I don't know if you can kind of give me a nod and agree that they have said the same to you or if they've mentioned that, but it's transforming to a video platform. So yeah. So that's what I would do. Other than that, I cannot get through all 65 more questions. Let's see. Another good question really quick for Alex. If Alex wants to jump back in, it's what's your go-to trick for when a brand feels too stiff or corporate to make it funny? I think that's a great question. So jump in when you can.
Man. I mean, honestly, I will tell you this, Abby, I know we don't have a lot of time, but I've worked with hundreds of brands in all different niches, and sometimes they just don't get it, man. I don't know. I don't like some brands are their own worst enemy, where they think they want something, and it's like, and I'll tell them straight up, I'm like, guys, I'm happy. See, I get hired sometimes in a more higher level stuff like strategy, and I'll be like, I will make you what you want, like I'm for hire, but my professional advice, this isn't going to go the way you think. And sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. But I always tell brands, like I just throw it out there. I'm like, hey, I'm a professional comedian. I'm a podcaster, which you guys can see I have my whole podcast set here. That's a huge lane too in UGC, which I'll make this very, very fast. If you want to try making podcast content, you can get a podcast style mic for like $100 on Amazon. You can even look Facebook Marketplace. People sell stuff for cheap all the time. That is a niche I've found that brands are really into right now, at least in my experience. But back to your original question, if they're not into it, they're not into it. And I don't think it's worth your effort to try and convince them. You're better off just being like, okay, just throwing it out there. If you ever change your mind, let them learn the hard way. Sometimes they'll come back. I've had that happen. And sometimes they won't. And then, whatever. There's, as Abby said, so much work out there and it's only growing. The creator economy is only growing.
Absolutely. That was a great answer. The last thing I'm going to do here is everyone who is still here, we are going to drop I just ask that nobody write in the chat anymore for this portion, but I'm going to have all of us drop our social media handles so you can follow us, connect with us, see the style of content that is working. So I ask all the guest speakers to just write that in the chat. And I'm doing that right now too. So make sure you follow us, you get in touch, and follow the JoinBrands channel. This entire webinar will be on YouTube for you guys to access. Again, don't forget to enter the challenge too. The challenge is going to be great. So before the next webinar, just submit a video. And I am so happy that we did a second one. We're going to be doing another masterclass. When that's announced, you will definitely be alerted. So thank you all so much. I hope that you got a lot of information out of this, and I hope all of you have a great rest of your day. Bye, guys.